Exactly the plan, Zhang Yi muttered. He looked in a specific direction and started walking, dragging the colossal bronze spear behind him. Li Chenggong followed, thoroughly confused. Wait, what do you know? Not wanting to be left alone in a demon god's void, he hurried after him. The rest of the team was still in Zhang Yi's shadow. Muyan's shadow trailing behind them in this pure white world looked incredibly bizarre, but Zhang Yi paid it no mind. As they walked out of the white light, Zhang Yi felt something unexpected, a gentle breeze brushing against his visor. His demon mecha's mask was one-way transparent, and the hood fed him environmental data, wind speed, level 2. Temperature, 16 degrees Celsius, 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Stepping out of the white void, his boots hit soft dirt. Before him lay an endless expanse of lush greenery. Rolling hills, dense forests, winding rivers, and soft grass swaying in the wind. He was standing at the top of a hill. It felt like the old world had been entirely restored. Even through the armor, the air felt like a perfect spring day. An illusion? Or a pocket dimension? Zhang Yi frowned. This clearly wasn't the real world, but after surviving a phantom territory, this kind of reality bending wasn't new to him. Still, he kept his guard up. The demon god armor filtered out dangerous visual and auditory stimuli, rendering most standard illusions useless against him. Li Chenggong stepped out behind him and let out a loud whistle. Wow, look at this place. Mountains, water, trees. It's gorgeous. We're inside Mammon's body, Zhang Yi said flatly. Don't get comfortable, you could die at any second. Li Chenggong took a deep breath, looking at the scenery. Honestly, if I have to die in a place this pretty, I wouldn't even be mad. We haven't seen a normal world like this in forever. That hit a nerve. Zhang Yi had to admit, a beautiful, peaceful world like this used to be their everyday reality. It's all an illusion, Zhang Yi reminded him. A fake world, generated by Mammon. Once we kill it, this all vanishes. Don't worry about it. He closed his eyes, recalibrating his sense of Ling's location, and started walking down the hill. Li Chenggong followed, having already taken off his helmet without realizing it, greedily breathing in the fresh air. Zhang Yi, this air is real. The grass, the flowers, the water, it's all physical. He plucked a blade of grass and waved it in astonishment. Zhang Yi barely glanced at it. Who knows? Annoyed by Zhang Yi's stoicism, Li Chenggong scoffed. You're way too paranoid. And you're way too careless, Zhang Yi fired back. I'm just saying, when we're dealing with something this god-tier, being hyper-vigilant doesn't actually help, Li Chenggong argued. We're inside a demon god. If we fail, we die. The only thing we can do is pray this thing doesn't wake up. Being cautious against a literal god is pointless. A man should always keep his guard up, Zhang Yi replied coldly. Inside the shadow space, Yang Xinxin and the others were mesmerized by the beautiful scenery, but none of them asked to come out. A peaceful world inside a nightmare was guaranteed to be a death trap. Zhang Yi walked down the grassy slope, deliberately avoiding the use of his abilities. Changing anything unnecessarily was a massive risk in a domain like this. Unless there was an immediate threat, playing it safe was the smart move. As they reached the bottom of the hill, Zhang Yi's expression finally shifted. Whoa, what is that? Fatty Shu spoke up from the shadow space. There's a village down there. Nestled at the base of the valley was a settlement with about 100 houses. The architectural style didn't match any known era of human history, but it had a distinct, medieval, 500-year-old civilization vibe. The houses were made of stone and wood, but the doorways were unusually tall. Yang Xinxin ran some quick calculations. Based on the structural proportions, the average height of the people living there should be around 1.6 meters. Like our sixth generation, Zhang Yi noted softly, before immediately correcting himself. It's just an illusion. He wasn't buying any of it. He had seen the tavern on the Death Highway. Everyone there looked human but were actually undead nightmares. There was no way actual humans were living in here. These had to be ghosts, fallen walkers, or entities manifested from Mammon's dreams. With his hand hovering near his sword, Zhang Yi approached the village with extreme caution. But as they got closer, things got weirder. The dirt roads were lined with blooming flowers. In the nearby fields, a group of children was running around, using handmade nets to catch butterfly-like insects. They looked exactly like human children, except their skin was unusually pale and their ears were slightly elongated. According to Ling, the creator fixed the human form blueprint, so most races share basic human features, Zhang Yi recalled. The kids were laughing and playing, radiating genuine joy. Are these kids fake too? Li Chenggong asked. Obviously, Zhang Yi replied flatly. He tried to ignore them, but his combat instincts were on high alert. Suddenly, the children noticed the two intruders. They stopped playing and cautiously walked over, whispering to each other. Zhang Yi and Li Chenggong looked completely alien to them, especially Zhang Yi, clad in dark demonic armor and dragging a massive bronze pillar. The kids looked at them with wide-eyed curiosity. Zhang Yi's hand rested on the hilt of his sword. If anything felt off, he would sever them all in an instant. His only objective was finding Ling. He overheard their whispers. They look so weird.
Yeah, but kinda cool. Do you think the goddess sent them?
Are they heroes? Heroes. Zhang Yi didn't understand their spoken language, but the meaning translated directly into his brain. Goddess? Hero? What kind of nonsense is this? Zhang Yi grew even more suspicious. The kid's curiosity was rapidly shifting into awe. Suddenly, Fatty Shu's voice exploded in Zhang Yi's mind. Boss, I get it. I totally get it. Zhang Yi frowned. What are you babbling about? Fatty Shu was practically vibrating with excitement. It's an alternate world, an isekai. I've read 1,000 manga like this. The second we walked in, I felt the vibe. It's pure medieval European fantasy. We were summoned by the goddess to defeat the demon king. In the end, we save the world, marry the princess, and live happily ever after. Zhang Yi sighed heavily. Explain it normally. Isekai, swords and magic, where there are beautiful princesses and dedicated healers, Fatty Shu declared proudly. What a trash storyline, Zhang Yi said, his expression unchanged. He decided to completely ignore the kids and keep walking, but the children's eyes were practically sparkling now. Look at his armor. That has to be a sacred weapon from the goddess. Wow, just like the legends. The hero is here. The Helen Kingdom is saved. A group of kids rushed toward Zhang Yi with their arms wide open. Damn it. Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed. His sword was a fraction of an inch from being drawn, but he paused. His left eye's second hand of time had been active since they arrived, and it wasn't registering a single ounce of danger from these kids. He decided to go with the flow. Let's see where this story goes. The kids swarmed him, literally starry-eyed. Mr. Hero, you're a hero, right? Are you here to save us from the Demon King? Zhang Yi gave them the silent treatment. He looked down at a little boy in a blue shirt with short hair. The kid looked well-fed and healthy. No signs of starvation or poverty. Kid, where are we? Zhang Yi asked. The children looked at each other before the boy in the blue shirt spoke up. Oh, right. I heard heroes fall from the sky, so they don't know anything about our world. Let me tell you. Just as Fatty Shu had predicted, the kids enthusiastically explained that they lived in a world of swords and magic. Warriors used fighting spirit. Mages cast powerful spells with wands, and the world was overrun with monsters. Humans and monsters were locked in an endless war. The only way to get peace was to kill the Demon King, but it was always temporary. A new king would eventually rise, and the cycle would repeat. Right now, a new Demon King named Sanger was attacking the Helen Kingdom. A faint smirk crossed Zhang Yi's lips. What a coincidence. It's like this whole setup was made just for me, but he kept his thoughts to himself. Using his sensing ability, he pinpointed Ling's location. It was directly ahead. The blue-shirted boy, whose name was Richie, tugged at Zhang Yi's armor. Mr. Hero, let's go to the king. The kingdom needs you. The bounty has been posted for 3 years, and now you're finally here. How far is the kingdom? Zhang Yi asked. Richie pointed toward the distant mountains on the left. By carriage, it takes about 2 months. Zhang Yi closed his eyes. Yeah, Ling's body is exactly in that direction. He pondered the situation. This massive world exists inside Mammon, and Ling is sealed here. Did Mammon intentionally guide me here? No, that doesn't make sense. Mammon doesn't need my help. It'll revive on its own in a few years. So what is the point of all this? He didn't have the answers, but since he was already here, he might as well play along. Glancing at the spear of Longinus resting on his shoulder, his confidence solidified. All right, let's roll, Zhang Yi said to Li Chenggong. Li Chenggong squinted at him. You're not acting paranoid anymore. Like you said, Zhang Yi replied coolly, fear is useless right now. Let's play by this world's rules and see what happens. His true objective remained simple: secure Ling's human body. Once he had that, he held all the cards. Zhang Yi looked down at the kid. Richie, do you want to come to the royal city with us? Richie jumped with joy. Of course, it is my absolute honor to serve the hero. The other kids desperately wanted to tag along, but Zhang Yi shut it down. He didn't want extra variables slowing him down. Zhang Yi, Li Chenggong, and Richie took to the skies, flying toward the royal city. Zhang Yi didn't rush. He used the vantage point to study the world below. It was a picturesque fantasy landscape. Farmers worked the fields, cows and sheep grazed peacefully, and the forests rustled in the wind. No starvation, no stress. Even the elderly were smiling as they worked. But Zhang Yi couldn't shake a creeping sense of unease. Something was fundamentally wrong here, though he couldn't put his finger on it. As they flew, Zhang Yi asked casually, "Richie, shouldn't you tell your parents you're leaving, going all the way to the royal city? Won't they be worried?" Richie blinked. "Parents? Who are they?" Zhang Yi stopped mid-air. What kind of question is that? He stared hard at Richie. There was no fake aura around the boy. He felt 100% real, which was the most terrifying part. Zhang Yi was certain this world was an illusion, but these people felt too authentic, blurring the line between reality and fabrication. "Your parents," Zhang Yi repeated, offering a faint smile. "If you travel this far without telling them, they'll be worried sick." Richie looked completely bewildered. He scratched his head. "Mom and Dad, what's that?" Zhang Yi was dumbfounded. "Do people in this world spawn out of rocks?" Li Chenggong chimed in. "Kid, the people who gave birth to you and raised you, where are they?" "Oh." Richie's face lit up in realization. "You mean them? They probably work in the village. I have no idea what they do." Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow. "Wow, what phenomenal family values." Richie quickly clarified. "But I was raised by the Holy Mercy Orphanage. The aunts and uncles there are super nice." Zhang Yi fell silent for a moment. "You're an orphan?" "What's an orphan?" Zhang Yi felt deeply unsettled. Li Chenggong explained bluntly, "An orphan is someone whose parents are dead, so they get raised by other people." Richie rolled his eyes, then suddenly smiled. "Ah, I get it. You guys are from another world, so you don't know how our system works. In the Helen Kingdom, parents aren't really a thing." Zhang Yi was genuinely stunned. Richie explained it like it was the most normal thing in the world. Every baby is sent to the Holy Mercy Institute right after birth. Everyone gets evaluated for their talents, trained, and assigned jobs when they grow up. Adults live together, and when the time comes, they choose suitable partners to have children. Nobody is forced to, but it's an obligation to the kingdom once you reach a certain age. We don't call them parents, they're just seed providers. The kingdom raises the kids. Zhang Yi finally grasped how alien this society was. People don't want to raise their own children? Not really, Richie shrugged. We're used to this system. If someone really wants to, they can work at the Holy Mercy home. But they won't know which kid is biologically theirs, so everyone treats all the kids equally. Fascinated, Zhang Yi dug deeper. What about property? If someone works their whole life to build wealth, and they don't have kids to pass it to, what happens? Well, obviously you enjoy your wealth while you're alive, Richie said matter-of-factly. When you die, the state takes it and redistributes it. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? If rich people just gave everything to their kids, nobody else would ever get a chance to move up. That's strictly illegal here. Zhang Yi fell deep into thought. Is this an illusion or some twisted utopian experiment? What about the king? Does his power pass down to his kids? Absolutely not. Richie looked at Zhang Yi like he had just said something highly offensive. The king is the most talented person in the country. A new king is elected every generation. The candidates are trained and have to co-rule with the old king to prove their capability. Only then do they get the throne. They're the ones we call princes and princesses. So a prince or princess could actually be older than the king? Zhang Yi asked, shocked. Yep, happens all the time, Richie replied. Zhang Yi took a deep breath. This societal structure was fascinating. Children didn't belong to individuals, they belonged to society. Because people weren't burdened with securing a future for their specific bloodline. They lived freely and worked with incredible efficiency. Why did Mammon create a world like this? The question burned in Zhang Yi's mind, making him eager to see how this played out. They soon reached the royal city. It was a sprawling, prosperous metropolis built on a plain featuring classic medieval European stone architecture. The streets were bustling with merchants and citizens. You said the Demon King is attacking, Zhang Yi noted. Why is everyone so relaxed? This is the heart of the kingdom, Richie explained, gesturing grandly. The Demon King's army is way out in the monster mountains and the dark swamps. We're perfectly safe here. Zhang Yi didn't care about the geopolitics. His sole focus was Ling's body. The closer he got to the city center, the stronger the connection became. He's here. A thought crept into his mind. Did Mammon orchestrate this to bring me exactly here? As they approached the city walls, Richie warned them, "My lord, flying into the city isn't allowed. The guards will arrest us. We have to use the gates." Not wanting unnecessary trouble, Zhang Yi landed at the main gate. The moment he touched down, all eyes locked onto him. Walking around in demonic armor while carrying a massive bronze pillar wasn't exactly subtle. A squad of armored soldiers approached, their expressions serious but remarkably polite. "Who are you? Your attire is highly unusual. Are you merchants from a distant land?" Richie immediately stepped in front of Zhang Yi and announced loudly, "These are heroes. The goddess sent them to defeat the Demon King. I saw them fall from the sky with my own eyes." A ripple of excitement washed over the crowd. People looked at Zhang Yi and Li Chenggong with awe and hope. "A hero! Another hero has arrived. They say a hero always appears when the kingdom is in peril." Zhang Yi didn't have to say a single word. Richie handled the PR flawlessly. Leaning into the hero persona was the smartest play here. It granted them very important person access and made getting intel on Ling much easier. The guards instantly stood at attention, treating them with absolute reverence. "Please wait a moment." A soldier sprinted off, returning shortly with the city defense general, a man named Kuzan. "So, you are the heroes from another world?" General Kuzan asked carefully. "Yes," Zhang Yi replied smoothly. The crowd buzzed again. General Kuzan's eyes gleamed. "If that is true, please tear down the Demon King's subjugation bounty from the notice board. Then come with me. I will take you to the king." He pointed to a massive stone board near the gates. Pinned dead center was the bounty for the Demon King. "It's been 3 years since anyone took the challenge. The Helen Kingdom is saved," a civilian cheered. Deciding to play the game, Zhang Yi stepped up and ripped the bounty off the board. The crowd erupted into cheers. "Inform the king immediately," General Kuzan roared. "A hero has accepted the quest to slay the Demon King." Zhang Yi, Li Chenggong, and Richie were escorted into the city with the highest honors. A luxurious carriage was brought out. Richie practically vibrated with excitement as he hopped in. Zhang Yi stashed the Spear of Longinus in his shadow space to avoid knocking over buildings, keeping only his time eye active just in case. General Kuzan rode alongside the carriage, speaking with a slightly flattering tone. "The Demon King's invasion has raged for 3 years in the Monster Mountains. We've lost so many. Everyone has been praying for your arrival." Zhang Yi smiled faintly. "What if a hero never came? Would you just sit around waiting?" "No, a hero always comes," Kuzan replied confidently. "History proves it. It's a rule of the world. And if an outsider doesn't arrive, a hero rises from our own ranks. We don't waste talent in this country." Zhang Yi stayed quiet, observing the city. Girls were blushing and pointing at the carriage. Li Chenggong was eating up the attention, waving at the crowds. Zhang Yi, still wearing his terrifying black-red armor, looked like a walking nightmare, but the locals just saw a savior. As the carriage pulled into the royal plaza, Zhang Yi's eyes snapped open. Right in the center of the square was a massive white statue, half buried in the ground. It was Ling, specifically his sword knight form. Zhang Yi's heart hammered in his chest. Bingo! Suppressing his excitement, he casually asked Kuzan, "What is that? Why is it stuck in the ground?" Kuzan sighed helplessly. 3 years ago, it fell from the sky. We've tried everything, but we can't move it. It's just been sitting there ever since. Right after it fell, the Demon King Sanger appeared and began attacking our borders. It's a terrible omen." A cold smile crept onto Zhang Yi's face. "An omen? Absolutely. Ling is a walking disaster for Mammon." Li Chenggong didn't even recognize the statue and completely ignored it. Zhang Yi suddenly stood up. "If I am the hero, I will bring peace to your people. If this statue is a bad omen, it needs to go. I'll handle it right now." Before anyone could react, he vaulted out of the carriage and marched straight toward Ling's statue. His eyes burned with intense focus. "Once I get this, we're out of here. I am not wasting time in this fake world." Reaching the statue, Zhang Yi quietly opened an invisible dimensional gate. He activated his spatial manipulation, intending to rip the statue out of the ground and throw it into his inventory. Crumble! The entire plaza violently shook. Soldiers stumbled, struggling to stay upright. "Sir Hero, please be careful," Kuzan called out nervously. He assumed Zhang Yi was just using a bit too much elbow grease to help them out, but Zhang Yi realized instantly that something was terribly wrong. Ling's body wasn't budging an inch. Instead, the stone slabs around the statue were ripping out of the ground and flying into Zhang Yi's dimensional space. An opposing force is anchoring it down. Zhang Yi gritted his teeth. He wasn't about to give up. He cranked his power to the absolute maximum. Boom! The ground fractured. Dirt, stone, and debris swirled into the air like a tornado, getting sucked into his spatial gate. He essentially excavated the entire plaza, creating a massive crater, but Ling's statue remained perfectly suspended in place, untouched. Zhang Yi's stubbornness flared. I refuse to accept this. He stepped forward, grabbed the statue with both hands, and pulled with the full, terrifying might of the demon god armor, power capable of leveling entire cities. Surrounding buildings groaned under the kinetic stress. Bricks started falling from roofs. "Hero, stop!" a commanding voice echoed. Zhang Yi froze. It was clear now pulling this off wasn't going to be a brute force job. If it were that easy, Ling wouldn't have been able to seal Mammon in the first place. The rules of this specific world were binding the statue. He let go and looked around. A massive crowd had formed. Some looked at him in awe, others stared at their damaged homes in despair, muttering about their 30-year mortgages. But all eyes quickly shifted to the man who had just arrived. King Locke stepped forward. He was a middle-aged, slightly balding man wearing elegant clothes and a monocle. Behind him stood Princess Mel, a graceful, mature woman in her 30s. "Hero," King Locke said calmly, "we appreciate your enthusiasm, but that statue has been there for 3 years. We've tried everything, including digging underneath it. It just sinks further. It's cursed." Princess Mel bowed slightly. "Welcome to the Helen Kingdom, hero. Seeing your incredible power, we have no doubt you are the chosen one." Zhang Yi's little display of catastrophic strength had perfectly cemented his identity. "Please come into the palace," King Locke requested. "We must discuss the Demon King." Zhang Yi, Li Chenggong, and Richie followed the royals into the palace. It wasn't overly extravagant. It felt more like a modern, highly functional office building. Once inside the king's spacious office, Locke cut to the chase. "The war has been raging for 3 years. Our national treasury is running dry. 3,000 soldiers are dead. Hundreds of thousands are homeless. We must defeat Demon King Sanger. Hero Chaos, I beg of you, please go to Light Shield Castle and aid our military." Zhang Yi was staring out the window, his eyes locked on the plaza. Li Chenggong nudged him. "Hey, are you even listening?" Yeah, I hear you," Zhang Yi muttered, turning back. "But I need to know more about that statue." "Are you absolutely sure there's no way to remove it?" Princess Mel answered softly. "We tried everything, but there is one very strange detail." Zhang Yi crossed his arms. "Which is?" "The exact year that statue fell from the sky," Mel said, looking him dead in the eye, "was the exact same year Demon King Sanger was born." It clicked instantly. "You're saying they're connected," Zhang Yi concluded. "If I kill Sanger, the rules anchoring the statue might break." Mel offered a faint, hopeful smile. "I believe they are linked, yes." Without a second of hesitation, Zhang Yi said, "Done. I'll kill the Demon King." Li Chenggong's jaw dropped. "Are you serious? You just agreed. You didn't even negotiate terms." Zhang Yi didn't even look at him. To Zhang Yi, this wasn't reality. This was a video game quest. These people were NPCs, and the quest objective had just been updated. Kill Demon King Sanger to unlock the item. It was that simple. King Locke and Princess Mel were equally stunned by his immediate acceptance. Tears actually welled up in the king's eyes. You agreed just like that?" King Locke said, deeply moved. "I thought I would have to offer you the world to convince you. Whatever you need, hero, we will provide it. Even with our economy in shambles, the Helen Kingdom will give you everything we have."